I would like to invite Rev Anderson, who is part of the Leadership Council, who has been very integral in these Friday calls and is the co-chair for the Transportation and Social Mobility Coalition. Rev Anderson, we would love to hear your words.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. These calls have come to mean so much to me. And one of the reasons why is because in a lot of the spaces that I'm in, this work goes on very siloed. There's just no other way to describe it. And often the people most impacted are in fact the people whose voices are not magnified. And when I started getting on these calls, I heard voices I had never heard before. Forgive me, my puppies are up and running. But one of the things that was unique about this experience and why I added to my already very heavy plate was that what I heard was information I took and ran and built new alliances with. That was huge for me. That people that sometimes I had known for years in the various rooms I had worked in, I learned the power of what they were doing and how it applied to me. And so one of the areas that I'm always very, very passionate about is who's not in the room. And can I say this model spoke so much to my heart, both as a faith person, as a person involved with criminal justice reform, as a person that works with the least of them. Who's not in the room? Who's not hearing? Who's not being heard? Who's having things done to them, but not through them? And this model of being able to not just engage in this different way, but this model to say, we are going to actively, specifically, purposely seek out voices that we have never sought out before. That part is so critical to me. And I think for me, one of the reasons why I am jumping into this with both feet is because, and I've alluded to it several times on the calls, whether it is working with Manny on things related to transportation, whether it is talking offline about who's protecting the people in the carceral system during Hurricane Ida. It's about being able to have one-on-ones with people for whom not just their knowledge base, because sometimes people have knowledge, but they don't have the empathy. But having people on this call that reframe how we plant seed instead of just fixing things from one grant season to another grant season. I think to me, that is the power of this model, is that we mean to change things. We mean to be sustainable. And we mean to plant seed, but we mean to do it by empowerment. And so if I can just say this one last sentence, because it means more than anything I know. I wear lots of hats and I have influence in a lot of rooms. But my favorite statement to anybody who knows me is that I have a Rolodex to die for. And I don't mind sharing it with somebody. To me, OneRouge in this new step is taking my personal gift, which is I like to share what I know and I like people to share with me, but to impact change that empowers people and allows them to decide what is the best life they need to live. I see this space, and I have seen this space for a long time, living up to that best creed. So for me, it was easy to say, there's only 24 hours in the day. Where am I going to fit this one? You know what? My mama used to say, there's a reason why some people are busy and some people are not. And so I step into this room and into this space with nothing but excitement and gratitude for being given the privilege of putting my voice into it. And that's really, for me, this is just very powerful.
Thank you, Rev Anderson, and for those words and everything that you do. I don't speak for other people, but I'll whisper for a few others on here that we all thank you and appreciate everything that you do. So I put in the chat, everyone, as said, if anybody would like to please just raise your hand and your virtual hand, that is. And if you would like to speak on how the OneRouge call has helped lead to collaboration or ways to change or inspire the work that you do, I would love for you all to share that today. First up on that, Mr. Emmanuel Milton, would you like to take the mic?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me in this space. I'm happy to be back. I was in this space. I want to say maybe when it first started. I think so. Yeah. Okay. So I was in this space whenever it first started, and I actually took a few months off of my own, personal and mental health, just to get some things, straight on my end, because there's a lot of great information that comes from these calls, and it could be a little overwhelming every time, as a person who sees things and a strategist. When I hear all this stuff, I'm trying to figure out how to help and how to dive in, and it's just like, hold on, let me just get my stuff together first and then hop in. But I'm grateful for this community that just embraces, and this is my first time back on in a while, and it's all love, so I love this. But the OneRouge community is really that. It's about a group of people that all do their own thing, and we just come together, bounce ideas around, and just kind of synergize on different things. And one of my biggest initiatives that I've done so far is the Sparkbox initiative. And if people are familiar with that, it was an activity kit for kids that I distributed during the pandemic to continue education. But they were like mostly social emotional learning kits, and to help parents, connect with their kids and see where their heads at, but then also continue education even through a pandemic. So what happened was that whole conversation started here between me and Patrick Tuck from 4-H, because me and him made the connection because I used to do 4-H as a kid, and we just started talking. I'm like, man, I hate that the kids can't, go to summer camp. So I was like, when we were just connecting on that, and I'm like, wait, what if I put like summer camp in a box and we distributed it? So that's how the idea of Sparkbox came. And it went from this initial conversation that me and Patrick Tuck had to me just taking the lead with it, running, and just and then it ended up, catching global attention, national attention. And I was on live with Kelly and Ryan. It was incredible, and to this day we've done about 3,300 Sparkboxes across the country. So, I'm super grateful for this coalition, because just those conversations really push the work that's being done. So I'm super grateful, happy to be back.
Yeah, I just wanted to just really commend my dear young brother Boo for continuing the really important work that he is doing and continuing to be that catalyst. I've always enjoyed spending time with you and watching you just move in your space very naturally, and it's great to see it having this impact and recognition. As always, as everybody else on this call, I suspect I enjoy the words of Reverend Anderson so powerfully, because they are always stripped of any pretense and are just genuine and authentic. There are two things that I put in the chat that I think are just really important that Reverend Anderson lifted up at the beginning of her comments. One is the tragedy of silos. That even with the best of intentions, we can very easily end up in our silos and wonder why all of those other people are not working in ways that we think that they should. And so a critical element of this work, and Casey, you have certainly been a disruptor of silos, this call, this work from the beginning. And that is just a critical principle to take forward. And then the second element of it is this whole notion in the language of collective impact. It is inclusive community engagement. And it is, how do we make certain that we always ask, who else should be in this room? Who else should be involved in this? Whose lived experience? As I say very often, lived experience is a credential. And we have to learn to value that credential of lived experience. And so we want that to be a part of continue to be a part of the culture of this work. And on behalf of those of us who would uh, accept the responsibility for being stewards of this work, we invite everyone on this call to make certain that you hold us accountable, that it's not just words, but that it actually manifests itself as action.
Yes, sir. Love that. Thank you, Raymond. I appreciate you. And, and I kind of want to just continue to build on that. I mean, with Summer, with the work at the LSU Women's Center, the work that Alfredo is doing with the Housing First Alliance, the work that Kelly Rogers is doing with Go Get Healthy, it's that coalition work that you all are doing that has really helped inform this work as well. And I just want to make sure and lift that up and acknowledge it. I mean, look at the work that Brain is doing with originally just started as out of school youth service providers, but it's codified and coming together and really creating like a wedge of people collaborating together in the after school space. There's so much great work that's being done that we're all learning from, and we want to work with existing coalitions on and support what you all are pushing forward, just more people from other silos, right? Bring more people in from other silos into the work that's already on the ground to enhance it and to empower it, unite and ignite, right? And that is part of that. So I just wanted to make sure and say that. And also, Dr. Bell, thank you for your telepathy. I have no idea how we always dress alike. And I said, thank you for your blue shirt today, and I appreciate you so much. Would anybody else like to speak on their work well, we have someone from Galaxy A12. Maybe this is Tatiana. Is that you? If you'd like to come off mute.
No, it's Ladonis Williams with Let It Slide, located in Baton Rouge area. Hi, Mr. Casey, how are you? I'll just come on to introduce ourselves. We're Let It Slide, which means SLIDE is an acronym for Stop Letting Intense Drama Escalate. So our goal is to combat violence and gun violence in the community. So right now we have going a program, a construction program, a recording arts program, an after-school tutoring program, and entrepreneurship mentoring programs. So we take in the youth and we teach them life skills. We teach them how to cope with things, anger management, de-escalating techniques, life skills building, healthy mindset, financial, etc. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we are here in the community. We have an open house coming very soon, in fact in February. And to let you know we're here, I'm glad to be a part. This is not my first time, but my second time being on this call, and I'm very excited.
Heck yeah, thank you for sharing and welcome, my friend. I said welcome to OneRouge, and we look forward to collaborating on the work. Adrian from Louisiana Appleseed, greetings.
Hi, everyone. This is our first meeting, myself and Jonathan Reynolds, who is also on the call. And thank you to Jan for suggesting that we see what it's all about. I just want to introduce Louisiana Appleseed. We are a policy organization, and we use the power of our pro bono network to affect policy change. And oftentimes it's legislative. And I want to comment too on someone had just posted Free the Land Tenure and Stewardship Reimagined. That is broadly one of our issue areas. So we work on heirs property, and we're working this legislative session to change some of the structures by which property is passed through generations to better protect the land. So I would welcome collaboration, particularly for directly impacted community members who maybe have generationally owned land. We want to connect, speak truth to power. So bringing those voices to Baton Rouge, which you're already in, but to the Capitol building to actually express what this means. And we've been in contact with landowners from northern Louisiana, also in the New Orleans area, and we're helping with disaster hit areas. So we just would love to collaborate with the Baton Rouge area. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Yeah, no barrier to entry, my friend. You are here, and we appreciate that work. And make sure and reach out. I would love to connect with you offline whenever the upcoming legislative session, and offer a parking space at our office, and you can maybe pass by the City Club on the way to the Capitol to catch those cats before they make the decisions, before you get to the Capitol too. I'm happy to make that space
brother.
for you. Dr. Bell, and then Amy.
Yes, I just wanted to come forward and just say thank you. Thank you for everything that we're doing here. Thank you for the way things are progressing. Thank you for all the people who come and to speak openly and to share. It's only through conversations like this, it's only through efforts like this, it's only through ideals that's come forward like this that we're going to be able to achieve the goals of overall having oneness for the complete Baton Rouge. We got to remember that everything that happen, if it may not happen in our personal space or in our personal neighborhood, it still affects us as a city. Until we get the mindset, until we get the hearts to care about everyone on equal levels and bring everyone up to at least decent levels of living, then we as a whole still got work to do. So we need spaces like this. We need open conversations like this. And we need organizations like this that's going to bring us something and let us look at things openly and plainly.
Thank you, Dr. Bell. Appreciate you, Blue Shirt. Amy?
Good morning. I know that I tend to be kind of quiet and don't speak a lot, but I wanted to let you guys know that before I started being on these calls, because I work with so many problems, I was feeling kind of hopeless. I'm like, what's even going on out there that's, that's good? Well, now I have total hope, and just really excited about all of you being there doing the work you're doing. And I'm like, yes, there is good stuff going on out there. And I know, like I said, I tend to be quiet because I sort of think in maps and pictures rather than words, but I am here and I'm paying attention.
Absolutely, Amy, and the work that you do, I don't know if everyone understands what kind of impact the data work that you do and everything, but I do look forward to, as we have that part 2 of the data conversation and bringing your voice forward. Just know that we appreciate what you do, even if you are a silent leader. As said, nonetheless, you are still leading. So I appreciate you being part of the work. And hooray for visual learners and map thinkers. Cherie, after you.
I just wanted to put a plug in, or kind of give everybody a quick overview of what we're doing based on the new infrastructure funding that's coming down. We're sitting on $40 million worth of grants right now at Federal Transit, including one looking at areas of persistent poverty and route restoration. Those are 2 planning grants in conjunction with Build Baton Rouge, and then some facilities money that we need to improve it. We are going to constantly be going after any monies that come through the federal government, Federal Transit, because we believe we can be the poster child for the Biden administration on the Justice 40 initiative. We truly believe that. We're talking to our federal delegation. So as you talk to our federal delegation, we would appreciate a good word in for CATS and what we're doing. We're also looking at all of our fixed route buses. Right now, we're going to start public engagement. I'll probably bring some things back to you guys, but go to our website, brcats.com, look for Smart Cats, get on our list, keep track of what we're doing, and give us your feedback. We've got a lot of really exciting work happening. Bus rapid transit's coming, microtransit is coming in Baker and North Baton Rouge. If I can get the lawyers off, yeah, never mind. I like lawyers, no problem. And we have a lot. Please keep in contact with us. I'll be around. I'm kind of not shy asking for help and money. I'm shameless, but we need everybody. Like this coalition, transit does not operate in a vacuum too. So let's have conversations and let's make sure that we are fulfilling the promise we made when the citizens of Baton Rouge and Baker elected to renew our millage for the next 10 years. We're not sitting back on it and just resting on our laurels. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Awesome, Cherie. And yeah, you and I share that in common. As said, that personality trait of not being shy, unfiltered audacity to ask for help and for resources. David Summers, then Christian, Pat, and then Manny. David.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Casey, and morning, everybody. So I just got two quick things. One, I want to echo Reverend Anderson and simultaneously lift her up and the work of these Friday calls in the coalition. So and you also, Casey. So I reached out to Casey, I think 2 weeks ago, because I was made aware of a young lady who lives in one of our communities. For those who don't know, I run Partner Southeast, which is the nonprofit development arm of the Housing Authority. I was made aware of a young lady who was in a pretty dire situation, young mother, 4 kids. She was in a car accident and has been immobile for about a year. And she was facing potential eviction because of some major issues at her unit. I reached out to Casey to connect to some other organizations, folks that I had known and seen on the calls, but that I didn't have direct contact information for because I wanted to intervene and stop property management, 1, from moving forward with an eviction, 2, from calling Child Protective Services immediately and potentially separating the family. She's got 4 young kids. And thanks to those conversations, Rev Anderson was able to put me in contact with a number of different organizations, resources, and other folks who share the same level of empathy that, this was a person who really needed help and assistance and resources and understanding and patience, and not someone that needed judgment and needed consequences and immediate consequences that would be dire and incredibly impactful. And so I wanted to lift that up. And so within a week and a half, we have now put this young mother in contact with a number of different resources that are going to get all of her kids back into, they haven't been in the educational system for a while, so we're going to get them back in daycare and in school. We're going to get testing, mental health testing, and other things for all the kids. We're going to get legal assistance and other casework for the young mother, in addition to some parenting skills and other things to kind of help her get on her feet and really help put her in a position to take back control of her life and make sure we can sort of stop some of the generational things that were happening with her. And we're already starting with her children. So I'm really excited about the fact that I know we a lot of the work that is done here is sort of at a more macro level throughout the city. But it's really important to be able to step down and stop and help one family and one group of kids and make sure that we put them on a different path. So that was one thing. And then secondarily, I wanted to make an announcement. So I'm on the board of the Baton Rouge Metro Black Chamber of Commerce, and we've got some really exciting stuff coming up for the month of February and beyond. And so I just wanted to lift that up and put that in the air as well. So any Black business can join the Black Chamber for free for the first week of February 1st through 7th, as a part of celebrating Black History Month. We've got 2 other events coming up. On 2/20, we've got a ride with the Chamber. So please go check that out. And then also on 2/22, we've got a sip and learn with a bunch of amazing speakers who are going to be talking about business credit and other things to help Black businesses get set up. So I'll drop all the information in the chat as well, but I wanted to lift those 2 things up. So thanks for the time and the space, Casey.
You bet, David. Thank you for sacrificing sleep to help people. And I know, as I appreciate that you care so deeply about the work, and it was our honor to be able to collaborate and get that together. Manny Fresh, it's all you. Go for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I think Pat did that just for my sake, because it's always hard to follow Pat LaDuff or Reverend Anderson. So I appreciate that. No, it's I just want to speak to everyone and to the power that is this coalition. From a person who's not a Baton Rouge native or local, just happened to be part of a project that kind of snowballed into what we have today. Just to speak on how, from the beginnings of like the Food Insecurity Coalition and meeting those people in the community to working with, folks like, I don't know if they're on the call, Shalonda, Ashley, Caitlin, on the Get Out the Vote registration in October 2020, which seems like an ancient era ago. But I think that what's been great about this is it really recenters this idea of community that people have. I'm a native New Yorker from Brooklyn, first generation in all senses of the word. But talking with folks down in Baton Rouge, and being going from just being as some of the colleagues that I work with, the carpetbagger from the north, to being an accepted member of the community in Baton Rouge, and really breaking bread with some of you folks while I've been down there. It's been hard because the last time I was down there was February 2020, which is now almost 2 years. Hoping to get that back down there soon, but it's been a great experience, and glad to see the project didn't die on the vine, but only got stronger. So thank you, Casey, and everyone else for keeping the ball going.
Awesome, Manny. Thank you, man. And I look forward to breaking bread with you, not only here, but also in NYC, now that starting to make moves again. So it's going to be nice to see you, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for your patience, because I know a lot of you have things to share. Chelsea Morgan Moreau. Oh, my goodness gracious. Speaking of forces of nature that are quiet behind the scenes, but no more. Here's Chelsea. What you got, Chelsea?
All right. So at the top of the meeting in the chat, I put a reminder and my email address. I'll be sure to do it again. But Voices for Healthy Kids is a partnership between the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the American Heart Association. We are looking to fund 4 policy campaigns that will be happening simultaneously over the next 24 months. So 4 organizations, $100,000 each, pass a local policy that is an ordinance from the mayor, through Metro Council, or through school board passing. So I know all of you are doing that great, amazing work. So please, if you can, get your application in today. We are also looking for innovative approaches. So don't box yourself into what you see on the Voices for Healthy Kids website. We are also planning to have a very quick turnaround. So you should know whether or not you're funded by February 7th. So we have 1 week to decide and get it going in our community. So thank you all. I hope to work more closely with you very soon.
Boom. AHA officially mic dropped in the house. Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate you. Thank you for your patience. John, and then Brian.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm John Reynolds. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm with Louisiana Appleseed, the same as Adrian Wheeler. I'm an attorney specializing in property title. And one of the projects that we're working on at Appleseed is trying to convince Louisiana to change the way that we handle heirs property. Heirs property is a form of ownership. Like, let's say your grandparents, your great grandparents might have passed, and now you and your second and your third cousins all own the property together. And it's a very precarious form of ownership. And we find that a lot of folks in Louisiana are still owning their property like this, specifically in the Black community. And what happens is it really limits your ability to build wealth. And it also opens you up to interlopers being able to break up your property. And so one of the things is, if any of the organizations here might have, do you think that us coming through and bringing some resources, doing some presentations on the issue, if you guys think that that might help, I would love to come up to Baton Rouge and do some presentations and hand out some literature. So just introducing myself, this is really great what you guys have going on. Thank you.
Absolutely, John. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for sharing the space. Mr. Brian Sleep, good to see you again, my friend. What you got for us?
Good to be here, and I'm not being irresponsible. My eyes are on the road, so I just wanted to communicate that. If anybody knows of anybody who's struggling in their living situation, we have a $12,500 grant from United Way, and it is to help people with utility bills. We typically help in the area of $300 to $350. And so, like, if someone owes $1,200, then we'll, if we know that there are other people who will contribute, we will give our portion to that. But there's just not that many people who are helping with utilities that we've seen. But I just wanted to make that known. And also, if anybody is struggling with clothing, we now, with our third store in Denham Springs, Purple Cow store, we're able to provide clothing vouchers, at any of our 3 locations. We just need a referral from an agency to do that. And then also, as far as food insecurities goes, we've been seeing quite a few people who are coming to the outreach center, living in cheap motels and needing food boxes, which we get food from the food bank. But the deal is that the stuff that we get, living in the hotel room, there's nothing but a microwave, and so there's a real need for boxes that are, that have ready to eat, stuff, pop tops, things like that. So just wanted to kick that out there. So if anybody works with the food insecurities portion wants to get with us, we're happy to be a distribution point in downtown East, for whoever might need a food box. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and that's all I got for now.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Brian. On that last point, if you don't mind dropping myself and Kelly Rogers an email, both would go get healthy in the Food Insecurity Coalition. We would love to connect on that, and for all the other work. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodnina.
Hi, everybody. Hi, friend. So I just wanted to say a few words about how impactful and wonderful this organization of concerned humans has been. Like, I work in the arts, I work in culture and history, and it's definitely a luxury position. These are essential to well-being and being a whole person, but not as essential as eating. But to still have space in this room, to also give voice to the fact that these resources, these cultural and historic and art resources are and should be available to everyone, that everyone should feel comfortable in these spaces, and that is just part of being a whole human. And any way that I can help, or that our institutions can build community and to be a place where you can have your public meetings, or you can see yourself reflected in the exhibitions, that the doors are open to you, is absolutely essential to my personal mission in being a culture bearer in Baton Rouge, and throughout the state, since I've got museums everywhere. I really hope that if you have an opportunity that you think the museum would be a good partner, or that we can just help elevate your mission, your actions, I want to make sure that you understand that I'm here to partner with you, that we will build this community in a very meaningful way, and that you have a partner in us. I, again, am so incredibly grateful for a spot. It is not every day that you can feel that you are changing the world for the better. But this is an incredibly empowering group of people, mission, and we have the momentum together to create meaningful change. And that is so incredibly difficult, but absolutely worth it. So thank you for allowing me to have a voice, and thank you for uplifting those voices that have historically not been heard.
Thank you, Director Hart. That is how I'm going to refer to you from now on, because you have put that time in, my friend, and you have created magic through this past few decades, and there's much to come. So thank you, Rodnina. So I'm going to kick it back over to Pat after she was having some tech issues, which is highlighting, as she said, the broadband issues in North Baton Rouge that need to be solved. So without further ado, Pat LaDuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. We were pushing for it a while back, but you know, with Exxon and the airport and Southern University, I just believe that that community broadband is getting closer and closer so that we won't be having these issues. But I too just can't say enough about OneRouge and the fact that our mission has been to connect resources. And so I think we have definitely done that. Many of these people I have known, but didn't know exactly what they did. And so as you know, like Reverend Anderson, as I learned, I got phone numbers and we connected to make things happen. And so we do have an announcement. We are serving, Schuylerville CDC is serving as a hotspot on Sunday for the COVID vaccination. And that's at 1920 Gawchaw Street from 12 to 3. And they will be giving the Visa $100 Visa card until it runs out. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, and love you, friend. Thank you for being here.
Casey, I
Yes,
also
ma'am.
invited Scotlandville Magnet High on the call, Thomasina Joseph. They are in need of connecting with us for students that just don't want to do school anymore. So I told her Baton Rouge Community College, and there are some other organizations that can definitely work with those students to get them their, they don't think call it GED anymore, but so we can get them working. The parents are depending on them, the grandparents are depending on them, and they need a job. So we don't want them just to drop out. And these are the people we're trying to help.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. Helen Frink, I just saw your hand. I forgive me for having the mayor's office on pause for so long. Helen Frink, what you got? Good to see you.
No worries, Casey. Hey, everyone. I, of course, was multitasking, so I'm happy to sit and listen to everyone. Of course, want to express my thanks and appreciation for all those on this call, and that this call happens every week. And I wish I was on every week, but knowing that there's a group of very involved community members that the mayor's office can join in and share information to is such a powerful tool for us in the city. And on that note, I want to share with everyone on this call that there will be a safe, hopeful, healthy community public safety meeting on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. At the River Center Library, and all of you are invited. Casey, I will send you and Helena that information. I believe we have a flyer, so y'all can send that in the follow-up email. But welcome all of your participation as always in that. It is leaders and community members like yourselves that keep this this work effective. So just want to say again, thank you so much, and hope to see all of you on Wednesday.
Thank you, Helen. Appreciate you. We're gonna skip on over to Powerhouse and wonderful human Myra Richardson.
Good morning, everyone. I hope that you all are doing exceptionally well and having a good 2022. I too am super grateful, not just for OneRouge and the leadership committee, and of course Casey, for the endless opportunities that have been able to position so many people to connect with me and help aid resources in North Baton Rouge. And most recently, of course, Casey was super instrumental in helping the mayor's office and I get Scenic Market, which was a grocery store. So it recently aired on BR Proud, which that was super excited. So a new initiative to try to convert some of our markets and some of our corner stores into grocery points, which is super popular across the nation. But of course, you know, now we're bringing it here to Baton Rouge to make it more innovative and make it more accessible to those communities. And as one of our board members mentioned before, the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, I'm the newly elected or appointed executive director and interim. And as he said, David Summers said, we have a lot of amazing things coming up. And not only is it the opportunity to stimulate Black businesses and help give them educational and networking opportunities and directly, you know, streamline them to some of these grants and things of that nature. We definitely want to connect with all of these larger organizations to act as allies to the organization to make sure that these businesses are getting the resources that they need. So that's super, super important to me. And I'll be sure to drop my email in the chat because it's so important at this moment that we're all connecting and being able to uplift the least of among us, and hopefully that these businesses can act as a nationwide poster child for what Black business looks like in our community. So if any of you would like to connect with me, of course, Casey has my information and I'm just floating around all the time. So I would love to connect with anyone. And Rinaldi is also one of our board members and we have an amazing team that's aiding and preparing our Black businesses. So thank you guys so much.
You bet, Myra. Thank you, and keep fighting the good fight, and I know that you will. I was just texting, so for the next person to speak, I was just texting, of course, with Vice President Harris for my vote for the next seat for the Supreme Court, Reverend Anderson.
That was very good. I'm not quite at the same level of Pat LaDuff, but I thank you for that. I actually wanted to also give a huge shout out to Director Hart, who has literally changed my life. And I don't drink, so I need everybody to know that before I say what I'm about to say. I do not partake of alcohol, but I went to one of the events at the museum, and it was a paint and sip kind of thing. And the whole point was to paint this particular picture, and it just wasn't coming together. And so the artist said, I need you to take a few steps back. Now look at it again. She told me, close my eyes, take a few steps back, and then look at the painting again. Can I just tell you that the work that they are doing at that museum, whether it is allowing people like me to talk about why Court Watch makes such a difference, or to allow Pat to tell people why Scotlandville is not just magnificent, but this parish isn't going anywhere without them. The arts have always been part of every social movement, but not everybody takes it to the level that Director Hart is taking it. And I think anybody on this call who does not know what she has done to bring criminal justice reform, to bring economic development, to bring education challenges into a format that helps elevate it, it's beyond amazing. And so while there are so many people on this call that I could cheer and yell and get excited about, and I do, but her particular niche is so hugely powerful. And I think it's one of those places where I'm so grateful that she is in this space, and I hope other people in the arts will come into this space, because I know the Walls Project has wrapped itself around the arts, but I don't think we're always necessarily making those connectors that we need them. They are as foundational as the work that any of us do. And I just wanted to add one other thing. To the why, thank you. You know, this call tends to be a mic dropper anyway on the best of days, but that's a huge one. And thank you.
Amen to that. And you're right, the power of the arts, right? Rodnina she rescued Stabbed in the Art, Culture Candy, you name it. Rodnina doesn't just do things that's in her head. She actually supports other people's visions and dreams. And that's a true leader right there. It doesn't have to be her idea to bring it forward. And I mean, look, everyone, most of you don't know this. If you've met, with Luke St. John McKnight, with the MBK and all the work that he does, Luke brought people together with Build the Fire. And he connected the younger art community and older white dudes with like gray in the beard, right, all together into the same space to have like really tough conversations and really like boundary pushing conversations through the art. And you look at Jerry Hobby, what she's done for all of these years with the Baton Rouge Gallery and countless organizations that empower voice, right? And Morgan on this call, yeah, she's running the public art program, but folks, if you think if it's about the murals, man, come on. And then when you look at the ability to work as a region together, and Carla King's work with the New Collective in Arnaville, and the French diplomats, the embassy out of New Orleans, and you bring all that culture, Francophone culture, into the work, that's just, makes it even more powerful. So it's not an afterthought, it's at the forefront of everything that we do, because all of this is art, including this conversation, right? So speaking of the art of business, Rinaldi Jacobs, you back? Jake, you back?
Man, I'm gonna shock a lot of people, including Pastor Jetson, and say I'm gonna be brief, but to say thank you to everyone. This group, and we're in different groups in different spaces, But Casey, I want to thank you and the whole team for the openness. You bring in people from different points of view, so that the whole, it's not one sided left, it's not right, it's not whatever. And I have learned so much. Reverend Anderson is my new, godmother as far as prison information goes, and Kelly and everybody on the call. I'm just going to say thank you, because you've, it's our local Wikipedia. I mean, if you want to find, I've been pushing, I send Casey an email every week. Hey, add these new 5 people to OneRouge. Hopefully one day we get to our Rouge 200. So, God bless all of you. I have learned so much, made so many connections. And Casey, I'm thinking we had a conversation about this 4 or 5 years ago. It's like, hey, how can we get the village together? You, Pastor Jetson, and some others. And this is just great works. All of you, thank you so much. And God, I love being in Baton Rouge. I really do. Thank you, Casey, for the minute or two. I appreciate everybody.
Appreciate
even
you, Jake.
My boss, Pat.
Well, and you know what? I'll echo the sentiment. I love being in Baton Rouge too. And 10 years ago, I said that wasn't the case. And thank to all of you for helping me fall in love with my hometown again. And I said, thank you all for the work. I said, Boo had just put it in the chat privately, but yeah, folks, if you're starting to wonder like what this looks like as we transcend back into the real world, it cometh, my friends, and it cometh in a much different way than you think. But yeah, Boo, I said, you're officially on the team. Let's rock it, I said, and blow some doors and some people's hair back when we do that. So cool beans, Verna. And then I would like to, Raymond, I would love to kick it over to you and Sharita to help close us out today. Verna, please, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Casey. Thanks for inviting me into this space. It has been a tremendous eye-opener. So many people from all different walks of life, all different positions in their roles and in their, they also showed their hearts on the service that impact people's lives, which is very important to me. And to be in this space and to talk about the type of work that One Touch Ministry does with reentry housing and our population is amazing, and no negativity comes out of it. It's such a great feeling, and it's almost like it was medicine to come on Friday mornings at 8:30 to make sure you got what you needed and left with something that was worthwhile, that can make a difference not only in others' lives, but in your lives. And to that, I say thank you all.
Thank you, Verna, and a few other folks that have stayed quiet as always. But it's worth lifting up. Jan Ross, you don't have to come off mute. You can. Okay, great. I just want to give you the space to speak if you would like to, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the fact. I'm not sure, I think other than the one time that you were traveling out of those 90 weeks, I think you have been here every single week. And given what you do for a living, you don't have to. And the fact that you get to do this and that you choose to do this, it has opened so many doors for so many organizations and people. And I want to say it out loud. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Casey. And so this is becoming the what are our thankful thoughts of the day for the last hour and a half. But just as what has been described, thanks to you all. As David had put in the chat box, we are always seeking out information as to issues, challenges, barriers, solutions, and those lifting up challenges that are in our community. The more informed we are as a team, the better we are able to make recommendations to our trustees. And these calls have been very informative, which is the reason for all of us to be to participate on a regular basis. On a different note, as you had seen, I have committed to helping with the Feeding Insecurity Coalition. That is a issue that I have become more aware of through the stories of how Mr. and Mrs. Wilson grew up, the impact it had on them, and how they set up their foundation to ensure that everyone has their basic needs met so that they can be productive citizens, which, is what is described and expressed on a weekly basis here, you all recognized how important having basic needs met are being met so that everyone can be productive, because production through our citizens and our residents is really what makes our community as great as it can be. So I encourage anyone that's in the food insecurity, growing, service provision, field, please help out with the coalition. I will be recruiting and would like someone that is in the field to help me in co-chairing this coalition, because I definitely cannot do it alone. To take that even further, Casey, thank you and your team for all that you all have done, because as I had said, this hour and a half every Friday morning is huge for our community. So definitely appreciate what you all have done. Thanks.
Thank you, Jan. And we're going to circle. We're going to circle with so much support on that Food Insecurity Coalition. Chair, as I said, you'll be getting an email from me later on today, making sure that you know that you're going to get both of my shoulders pushing with that. And I'm looking forward to doing that work with you for months and years to come. Raymond, I wanted to go ahead and throw it out to you to go ahead and close us out for the day.
Thank you very much, Casey. I wanted to allow us to leave with this important thought, being the one that we share with one another. This is what all of this is in service to. It's great to be in this space, but at the end of the day, what is the difference we seek to make? And how do we organize ourselves to collectively pursue making a difference? And so this is our aspiration. This is our highest hope for this work. When we are finished 25 years from now and glance back at this day, we hope that this city that many of us are falling in love with again looks a lot more like this than it does today. The thing that I would ask all of us to hold on to is an asset-based perspective. Our neighborhoods are not broken. They are not doomed. They don't need fixing. There are assets in our community that can be built upon. There are people who live there who love their neighborhoods and their families and their communities. And it's our job to identify those assets, to build on them, to work with people rather than for people, or worse than that, to people. And so, Casey, much respect to you for starting this space. Thanks to all of you who have been here through the weeks, through the journey. This work will intersect with these calls in a practical way in every few weeks. One of the coalitions will show up and talk about their work, give you an opportunity to share feedback, input, to join in, to connect others to. And so there will be a very practical expression in service to this aspirational statement. So thank you all for being here. My prayer is Godspeed to each of you, and have a great weekend.
Well said. Thank you all. And Liz, if you want to stick around, and said we'll talk a little bit. Verne, if you want to stick around, we'll speak for a bit. Thank you all. Have an incredible weekend. And let's get down to work on Monday together. Thank you all. See you next week.